What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we're coming at you with a new DIY kind of mini-series on the channel, and this is Recreating Dungeon Dice Monsters Part 1. Now, it's going to be obviously a couple episodes worth of building it together, but we're going to try and do it as cheaply as possible, because obviously Dungeon Dice Monsters figures can be a bit expensive if you look up some of those prices. Same with the cards as well, or just any bits of the set. So obviously it's going to be a bit of a process, but it includes dice. You know, I just have these for show, just to have something to show off. But a lot of it, I figure, can be recreated with just using dice, but we will kind of build pieces as we go to try and make it as legitimate as possible. So obviously, I think there's a couple pieces. 6, I figure. Dice is going to be the first one. So we already have a video on how to make a 6-sided dice, which is what they use in Dungeon Dice Monsters. And obviously this isn't what we'd use, this exact dice, but we'd recreate maybe using blanks and put on the correct faces of the Dungeon Dice Monsters. You know, whatever pips or whatever sides whatever you call it. So we got to start with the dice, and I figure it'll be easy to recreate these. I'll have the link to this video, how to make these, in the description. But like I said, it'll be the same thing, or possibly in the comment section as well. But same thing, recreating those dice, I figure, will be one of the easier bits. Next would be the mat. So I figure using inch-by-inch grid paper, which is what we have here, we can use that to make the Dungeon Dice mat, both kind of the starter set area and the advanced area. We'll just kind of have it sectioned off. But I figure this will be a starter set kind of build, and then if I have some people who are interested in playing it, or maybe just building a couple extra pieces or showing off some more added bits, then I'll continue making some more for the set. Next would be figures. And I've already made a video on this, on how to make Yu-Gi-Oh figures, and we just basically do the same thing, and they already have an inch-by-inch square base, which you could make circular, and you can make it whatever color you want, but I'd figure we'd go with kind of black bases for the bottom. There is a Beaver Warrior in I think the Japanese release of some of them, so that's a whole other thing we have to kind of get into with the cards and stuff. But I figure for the figures, we could do this. It adds some color. You could possibly double-side it if you want. I'll probably just go single-sided, at least to start. And this pretty much covers everything, except for maybe the Monster Lord and the Knight of Twin Swords. For Monster Lord, I figure you could just kind of put whatever, or you maybe use like Dream Clown or something that kind of looks similar to a Monster Lord. And for the Knight of Twin Swords, I figured like Twin Sword Marauder or something like that. Something that you know, is close enough and that is different that you could tell, because obviously there isn't a Knight of Twin Swords in actual Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's in Dungeon Dice Monsters. So the next one would be cards, and I figure recreating the Dungeon Dice cards, they were the same size as Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but they do have kind of shorter card art and a lot more space for card text and such. So what I figured I can do is kind of just print off the correct size of Dungeon Dice cards, because there's pretty much pictures of every single one available, and basically recreate it. And I do only have a black and white printer, which I figure is technically the more affordable option for people anyway. You could get them printed off in color and cover a Yu-Gi-Oh card. That's what I plan on doing, is just printing them off, Mod Podging them onto a Yu-Gi-Oh card. That way you can still have a Yu-Gi-Oh back, have them on the front. But since it is black and white, I figure I might have to replace some of the text with maybe just a cover box and add the text in there. But I think that works out for the Japanese cards if I do continue on, or items and stuff like that for the game. If I do continue on making some of them, they'll probably have to be translated anyway for their card effects and such. So I'd have to do that anyway. After the cards is the crest counter. Now, I don't have really anything to show it off, but I figure what I can do is just basically make a sectioned kind of cube with some, you know, bars going across of whatever, and just have beads or whatever to symbolize the 10 that you can move across on the crest counter for the 5 different symbols. I figure that won't be too hard to just kind of recreate. And lastly, the dungeon pieces, you know, when you summon a monster, the pieces that you lay out. I figure I can just also use this on maybe some foam board and get those pieces exact and find out what, you know, pieces need to be made and what for the set, and how like an advanced kind of set would be for 10 for each person playing. So some of that, like, that's some of the difficulties of finding out the exact placement of the summon and which way they face and such, and some of the rulings. There is an official rule that a rule book that you can still look up on like Mattel.com. Like, it's you literally Google it and it comes up from like Mattel. It's crazy. But I figure though that'll be some of the issues I have to face. Same with the dice, is just maybe figuring out which sides are correct for which and how much crests are on each dice and such. But I will have those in the future videos. I'll probably have a video for each of these things that I've listed off. And the 7 kind of monsters, I guess, for the set of an original starter set of Dungeon Dice monsters include Gearfried, you know, Vorse Raider, Thunderball, Strike Ninja, Buster Blader, and then the Knight of Twin Swords, like I mentioned, which is Twin Sword Marauder or whatever, in place. And then also the Monster Lord, so your main one did also have a card too. So like I said, I can have that card, also have whatever to replace the Monster Lord, or if it's, you know, it's just me and my friends playing, we can just have whatever monster for that Monster Lord, you know, to represent. It's not like it's going anywhere. So that basically covers what I plan on doing in these future, you know, kind of DIY videos and some of the ideas I have on how to do it. Eventually, like I said, if people have enough interest and if I have enough maybe homies who want to play, make full 2 sets of, you know, the Dungeon Dice monsters, and then maybe expand with items and Japanese cards. And it's possible to maybe 3D print or get into the more technical, like making actual as legit version as you can that isn't, you know, as janky, but still, you know, looks pretty good. And of course, there is the advanced game and starter game. We're going to just keep it with the starter, build the starter set, and if homies are interested, have a 3v3 with the 6 monsters. I'd obviously make like 2 Monster Lords or whatever for representation of each side. And then, like I said, the items in the game are something else I'd like to touch upon, because they do have some kind of weird and wacky items. And if you've seen the rules, or if you want me to maybe make a video explaining Dungeon Dice monster rules, I can do that as well. And like I said, the link to how to make these, the figures, and the link to the dice should be in the description or in the comments. And like I said, I think a lot of things can be covered up with just dice, but I'll get to there in the future videos. Let me know if you do want to see continuation of this series. I do figure I'll finish it off and try and make a full Dungeon Dice Monster starter set at least, and then continue it from there if there's still interest. But I think it can come together, and learning the rules, you know, fully, and playing Dungeon Dice Monsters and trying to make it affordable is basically the goal. So maybe, you know, multiple people can play it, or maybe get to the point where, you know, 3D printed, I can make the dice different colors or whatever to the perfect setting. Get there eventually. So if you have any suggestions or ideas for Dungeon Dice Monsters, or if you think there's anything I didn't cover and can cover in future videos for probably each separate piece, you know, making the dice and mat and figures and such, let me know if there's anything I missed. You know, make sure to check out my other DIY project videos. I do have dice towers and how to make shatterfoil like cards and ghost rare cards as well. Lots of different DIY Yu-Gi-Oh project, kind of trading card game project, you know, tabletop stuff. Like I said, make sure to check that all out. Otherwise, you know, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know when new content's coming out on the channel, because I do plan to continue this series pretty frequently until we get something complete. And otherwise, thanks for watching. Peace.